All right, so the stat revamp is finally complete. There are some bugs and some possible revisions to things here and there, but the bulk share of the work is complete and implemented. It's gone live. Um, so I wanted to do a video um, and kind of talk about the stat revamp a little bit as a whole, but really just kind of mostly talk about pretty quickly and show the changes to strength and what that means for warriors and my thoughts overall on it. But first, I wanted to talk about some of the attribute updates. So they implemented a style bonus and they kick in at 155. And so that basically means that at 155 point in strength, they start to kick in. And then, as this says here, it scales linearly from there up to 250. And then, so some of the updates to warriors and strength. Um, so they enabled a full defensive playstyle since warriors don't have access to hunter proc weapons. So anytime you're in a full defensive armor, the armor will automatically change. Instead of zero point 0.8 offense, zero point 0.8 defense, it'll increase to 1 times outgoing power. This is based on your strength. So uh, if you're a hybrid and you're using magic or ranged weapons, and you're using full defensive armors, it will work there. So it's not based on just using melee weapons. Um, they gain 10% damage as an always thing there. Doesn't affect weapon specials or bow attacks. And then they have something they call backhand. Some people have called it counter strike, but basically when you're attacked, you hit your foe for a single hit that follows your weapon element and type. So that's worth 2.5% melee per hit. But the average is 2 hits, so that's where the 5% comes from. Some monsters hit you for more than that. There are some revisions to it. I think the revisions have gone live, um, but I wanted to showcase what that looks like. Hopefully, I won't die in the process here. I just wanted to kind of show what this looks like. All right. Um, one thing to note here is that Quad Force, Quad Mod, um, by choosing strength, dexterity, and so on and so forth, intelligence, luck, whatnot. Um, luck's actually not there. I think. Let's see. So we have strength, charisma is what's there. Dext and int. The style bonuses go live. So wanted to show them in a full defensive armor. It says 0.8, as you can see, and then I give myself 250 strength, and as you can see, it's now up to the damage to times 1. All right, now, so I get 10% damage, so I'm actually running at 110% melee with this, and now I'm going to try to get the backhand to proc. You'll see when after the monster hits me, it'll look kind of like backlash, but it's not backlash. Let's see if we can get it to proc here before this monster blows me up. All right, let's try again. So we get to proc, did proc. So it's not happening too often. Let's see. It's going to say something about a special effect here. I'd rather not take the time to train stats just to show this if I don't have to, but not that big of a deal. The other thing is, and I'll talk more about this, um, talk more about this whenever I'll get to charisma, but your strength is affecting pet and guest BTH by half. It's checking main stat for highest of main stat to implement half of the BTH. So um, uh, let's see here. So a beast warrior that's using regular pets will be able to have 85% accuracy for their pets and guests. That's also something that warriors didn't have access to before. As you can see, I'm not able to get this thing to proc that often, so I don't know if there are some bugs and stuff. But before, when it would proc, it'd be like 8 damage, 9 damage. It would be extremely weak. But it should show. See, it's not proccing much. So I think it's a work in progress. So again, let's see what I can manage to get out here. If it doesn't proc, then that's fine. You can just uh, get on your warrior, and you'll see it. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing here. Wonder if I have another weapon. I'm just gonna do this because it's based on strength. I don't have to have a melee weapon. All right, Elder Voidworm. Let's see if I can get it to proc. Not doing it. Regardless, I think that the changes to, maybe it just did it there. Let's see. No. The changes to warriors, I think they lack sparkle. I think the counter strike, aka backhand, is very weak. It's buggy. Um, I think it's not. It hasn't been very well received. Warrior lean will be nice, but there's almost no support for it. Players are still going to want weapon-based skills. There's only been 2 armors ever made that are full defensive with weapon-based skills, and they were both made. One's no longer available. It was the Black Friday Darkness armor that they just made, and then the Winter Warden armor. I suspect the Snugglefest armor that's coming out this week will be one, but it's going to be a long time before there's enough um, item support to really support the weapon-based skill version of Warrior Lean. If it were me, what I would do is I would implement some kind of toggle. I would roll the 15% damage into Warriors, just instead of 10%, make it 15. But I would somewhere have access to the Counter Strike mechanic, and then what I would do is I would that would alter. It would lower the 115% melee of warriors maybe down to 0.7 or 0.8, somewhere in there, and then let the Counter Strike mechanic make up that difference back up to the 115%. And that would be, especially if they can get it to proc on a consistent basis, that would be really, really good versus damage capped bosses. You could be hitting close to the caps or at the caps with their normal attacks, and then the counter strikes could also potentially. So um, I think that's how the mechanics should be implemented, and it would give warriors a choice in the playstyle that they can run with. All in all, um, mixed bag on the warrior portion of the stat revamp. I personally think they're going to uh, circle back and change some things with them. It may be a while, but at the end of the day, melee percent is the baseline that they use for everything in the game, so they can't get too crazy with it. But anyway, that's it for the strength version of the warrior uh, portion of the stat revamp.